We're back on a Wednesday night. We've got to talk about all the stuff that went down at the press conference here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. You know that guy over there? That's Coop. I'm Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to while you're here. Please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So, on today's episode, we've got some fun stuff to talk about. We're going to dive nicely into the Brent Venables and the Brent Venables press conference, John Mateer, as well as talk about Jim Naggie. Some injuries were talked about, and we're going to get some thoughts on that as well. So, Coop, happy Wednesday, man. How's it going?
Doing good, brother, man. Just, man, it's good to hear from Brent Venables. Like, even the 22-minute plus opening was endearing. It's like we forgot about it, and right now it's going to be it's it's cute. It's like a new relationship all over again, where stuff that that you did that annoyed her at the beginning, but she was like, I'm gonna look past it. Now she like cut that out. So
has it really been that long since we've heard Brent Venables do a press conference where he would go for 25 minutes straight?
I mean, it's only been as long as since his last one after the bowl game.
That's true.
All of them. But last spring, early in the spring, it was pretty bad last year, and then he tapered off, as the year went on, and I think that, I think it was tough to answer all those questions just week after week after week about the offense and focus of the team, and so he would talk about some of the principles and the standard and stuff, but then it would kind of end up short because you can only when that's the only topic that you really feel good about. Still, it's hard to go on a 20-minute opener.
That's true. It's a good point, but he gave us all the goods right there up front. So probably got a small audience. It's Wednesday night. We don't normally do we haven't done the Wednesdays since the season's been over because there's really not much to talk about for the most part. But there's a lot to talk about today. We can talk about this press conference. Of course, like you said, 25 minutes he went down. The list of visitors for this weekend. I think I have it right here. I'm probably at about 30-something kids already, supposedly. And there's still more. I haven't even added everybody. Rumor has it there could be over 100 kids that could come out. They bring people with them. We're looking at 150, 120 people. So it's going to be a long list of people that's going to be in town this weekend. I'll put together a video with the list of all the players that I have, and we'll talk about that. We'll have that later this week. So, but Coop, when you heard Brent Venables open up with his 25-minute rant, what jumped out to you from his whole opening spiel?
It's not usually what Brent says. It's kind of the, it's kind of like what you feel like what is he feeling when he's talking? Because I think that through most of that early part, it's still like you want to not just completely sweep last year away because I feel like that's pretty ignorant. You got to be able to talk about some of the stuff that went down last year. I think it was cool that he went out of his way to talk about going into spring football, to bring up Billy and Danny and Ethan at the combine and the rest of the guys, just proving the point that the program is still the number one thing and the people are the top at the top. So that was cool. But it seems like Brent is more invigorated. I feel like he's got a little nasty chip on his shoulder. His answer for, why are you calling the defense was, we can get to that in a minute, but that was a type of an answer. So, but I felt good about it. It felt like he's ready to get going. If they're really, really excited. He shared a little bit about about the new coaching staff, and talked about Jim Naggie a little bit, and you get to think that he wanted props and due to the organization and the athletic department. He thought that they deserved a lot of applause for some of the stuff that they've been doing. So, it seems like he's pretty proud and excited about, what this year holds.
Yeah, and you can tell that even though he did look a little tired. I mean, he kind of looked like he was a little drained. Life may be getting him right now, but he did look like he was, he's ready for, spring practice to start tomorrow, as I am as well, because now we get to hear about things that's going on. But as he went through his whole spiel and everything, I think the thing that jumped out to me the most was him talking about having Wes running the Cheetahs, as well as Nate Adrelling really being excited about taking the job. As in, like, he was like, I want to start today. I will walk to Norman. You give me this job. And sure enough, he's got himself now a young protege. Since he did not win the Jim Knowles sweepstakes, I'm kind of excited about those two linebacker coaches. I think they're going to be doing some things fun on the defensive side of the ball, especially because, like, we talked about, Brent Venables is going to be the one that's going to head the play calling. He's going to need some good support. And I like the fact that he has three guys that have actually called plays as defensive coordinator right there with him to really help, with Brandon Hall, Wes Goodwin, as well as Nate Drelling, to help him really plan and prepare. But he also dove into injuries. I think we'll save that for a little bit later. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. I want to jump right into that John Mateer piece. I love Stevie G pointing that out. That, yeah, Mateer got me fired up. How'd you feel about his first real presser here with Oklahoma?
I mean, if there's ever been somebody who could come in and just, they always say, talk about, you got to nail the opening press conference, when you're a head coach. I think is a big time high round draft pick at quarterback. You need to be able to do that. Anybody who roots for Oklahoma or has any interest in Oklahoma and listens to John Mateer today thinks, damn, this guy, he's got it. He's got the swagger, the aura, as the kiddos would say. He just makes you absolutely feel like he doesn't care about accolades. He doesn't care about rankings. He just, he has a responsibility as the quarterback and leader of the team. He knows that he has to earn every ounce of it. I like how he almost kind of snapped back and was like, well, I was in a quarterback competition at the beginning of the year. Almost like I didn't just get handed the keys. I earned these. So it's almost like he's got that chip on his shoulder still, like, hey, I'm going to earn everything that I get. Nobody's handed anything to me. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I am more excited about this team after, what was it, 6 or 7 minutes of John Mateer than I think I've been excited. I mean, I don't know if I've been this excited, in a while. He sold me. He sold me on him. He sold me on his attitude, on his leadership. If he makes a mistake, he's going to own it. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that's going to put it on anybody else. He's going to take it all upon himself, kind of like what's a fella that Baker Mayfield. That's
Jalen Hurts.
Same thing. And you know what?
The leaders we've had here, which is exactly what we've looked for, is that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I don't want to knock dude's chiclets, but he's got even a little bit of a Baker gap in the two front teeth. So there's a little. So the Baker comparisons are going to be endless. It's going to be terrific.
Yeah, it's not going to stop. And I like y'all to go ahead and just stop now. Don't do it. Don't do it. No, don't do it. No. Because, we don't need to put that level of pressure on the young man. No, don't do it. But at the same time, he does have a similar, I guess, aura / moxie about him, that he comes in with the energy that, no, I'm going to go out there and we're going to dominate. I'm going to go out there and, we're going to crush some folks. And that's the goal. The goal is to win games. And I love that the question around Heisman Park and walking around it, and they were like, well, he's like, it's cool and all, man, but I want to win games. I need to win games, which is the most important thing for me, is winning games. And so, since that's the case, I appreciate you, John, actually saying that your focus is to win games.
Win the game.
That's all that's important, right? And so, Brent Venables talked about him a little bit as well. I like that he pointed out that he's a locker room guy and people really like him. Like, it appears that he's someone that that's definitely jumping out as a beloved player. And I think that he's already walked in and owned some of the locker room. At least that's what I've been hearing. He's walked in. People are like, yeah, that dude, that's that dude or whatnot. So he may be him. He may be Himothy. We won't know though until he hits the field, but I'm glad that the way that that entire press conference went, it made me feel comfortable with how spring, with spring coming up to see what the practices look like.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the guys are ready to roll. It seems like the guys want to get out there and go to town. We already kind of made mention that there's a few guys nursing some injuries, trying to work their way back from that. But that the leadership on the defensive side of the ball, I think that there is going to be a new dynamic on that side of the ball this year. I think that those guys have some confidence. They've got the proof and the performance from last year to really build the foundation on their confidence.
Yes.
And I would say this: it's John Mateer's not going to walk in there and the defense. And I may have said this on Sunday night, but that defense is not going to let him come in and be like, let's help him out with the confidence, and let him just get on a little bit of a roll so they can feel good. No, the defense wants to continue to put those guys in their place. And all they've heard since the end of the season is, now the offense is going to be dominant, and this offense is going to be coming in here, and this offense is going to be really, really good. Well, guess what? The defense is going to want to still tell that offense, like, hey, we have a lot of hymns on this side of the ball too.
Yeah, no, exactly. We want to tell you that Himothy is also on the defense. We got to dive into that. So, yeah, thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. Probably won't have a super long show today. It's a good, quiet evening, but got to talk about those injuries, though, Coop. I am concerned. One injury that Brent Venables mentioned, but it's not going to be on this list. Let me go ahead and pull up the list that I have. Shout out to James D. Jackson for putting this in. Not only did he put down the people that are out for spring practice, but he also gave us what the situation is. It sounds like Jaden Gibson may have aggravated that knee, maybe have a slight setback. It doesn't sound like is as serious as initially reported. I think over on OU Insider, they tweeted out that they had talked about it before. Doesn't seem like it's it could be that bad, but they're waiting for the diagnosis. And I really hope that it's a situation where they say, just sit spring practice. You should be good going to, you can get back to training in the summer and closer to August. I really don't want to lose him. That would suck if, he has a setback on that knee. But yeah, these are injuries. Jaden Jackson had surgery on his labrum. Logan Howland, I remember him hurting it at the end of the season, but he still played with it. Kay McIntyre's get that shoulder fixed, and Heath Uzida looks like he's to get his shoulder fixed as well. 2 ACL folks. Andy Bass tore that ACL during bowl prep, actually. Yeah. He was the quarterback on the scout team, and they said that he was cooking.
Yeah.
And then he made a step, and he was unfortunately cooked. Feel bad for him. Because we've been waiting to see what Andy Bass is going to be. Barnes still dealing with something with his foot. And BV mentioned this about KJ Daniels, Kendall Daniels, that KJ was dealing with a hamstring situation from high school. So it's been years that he's been dealing with this and fighting through it. Still played with it, and that they're going to go ahead and try to get him up to speed or help him work through it going into this season. So he'll be limited in spring. And then Darius Afalava hurt his knee at high school, so at the end of the season, so he won't be playing. He'll be redshirting this season as well. But man, and then Gentry and Peyton Bowen are both going to be limited, but it appears that they're about, Peyton Bowling's dealing with turf toe, Gentry in his shoulder, but it sounds like they're in situations where they've actually progressed better. What you think, Coop?
I mean, everybody's going to be a little gun shy when it comes to the injury conversation this year, and rightfully so, because if there's it's crazy because if you ride with 8 to 10 injuries, kind of just across the board throughout the year in a normal year, it's just a normal year. But after the year that we had, if you're going to have, 7, 8, 9 guys on the injury report with little things here and there, people are going to be a little quick to jump the gun. So I would say there's a lot of cleanups. This is still the spring.
Yep.
The
Winter.
negative side about, yeah, well,
Yeah, you know what I mean?
still, the massive importance right now is strength and conditioning, and on the offensive side of the ball, just learning the flow. You think Heath Ozida is going to probably be a contributor. On the offensive line this year, Logan Hallen, I can see him as a starter or definitely a rotational tackle. So those are the guys that you want to kind of see in there. Cade McIntyre, that's a situation where you want him to continue to progress, especially in this new offense. I think he has the best physical assets and traits to be a difference maker at tight end. So it sucks for all these things. And we haven't seen KJ Daniels yet as a Sooner. Haven't seen Andy Bass. Barnes, I'm not too worried about Barnes as long as he's ready by early to mid July. That's okay with me. The Gibson thing is it sucks because he tore it back in August. So here we are in beginning of March. So he's not fully recovered. Like, he was still injured working his way back. But setbacks aren't what people want to hear right now, especially when you're looking for an answer at wide receiver. I would just venture to say this. Whatever Jaden Gibson can give us this year, everybody take it as a bonus, because I think that's a tough ask for him to come back and be a number one after tearing the patella at that size. And
Right.
And so I would just say this is, you're still going to be rolling out Burks. A lot of positives on the transfers so far this year. Again, we'll have to see it when it's go time. But anything Gibson gives us as a wide receiver this year, I think is going to be a bonus for this team.
Yeah, no, I agree. And just to clarify, that is KJ Daniels, the wide receiver, not Kendall Daniels, the defender from Oklahoma State. So that was my mistake. Just the way he said it, it sounded like it was him. But no, this is the young wide receiver that we, like you said, Coop, we have not gotten to see yet. And that's because he's been dealing with hamstring since high school and trying to play through it. So yeah, kind of fascinating, which is, you gotta say it's a plus that our defender will be. And I think he did an interview too, actually. He did some interviews afterwards or whatnot. And the insiders that were there, the media that was there, got to do some interviews with a lot of the transfers and stuff. So pretty good. But yeah, this is our list of 9 non-participants. And to be honest, BV mentioned this, in the presser. He's basically saying that he's like, without the ability to have the competitive depth, you lose a lot of that because of, not having the roster space. He's down 30 players, which, roster attrition that you had to have because you can only have, 105 players instead of the 120 plus that we had before. So being down 30 players, well, they had, 135 players they had on the roster at minimum. Sheesh. We had a lot of people. We ain't got that many anymore, all because of the changes with, the settlement and everything. So we'll see how that looks. But yeah, I think spring ball is going to be fun. Now, of course, we got to talk spring game. Me and Coop, we talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to be honest. I ain't that stressed out about, the spring game or the Crimson Combine. I think it's still going to be fun. I think it's going to be not as glorified as a scrimmage as it was before, but I think they're going to give us some big plays and some fun action to see.
Yeah, it's I'll say this. I've been going to the spring game for a very, very long time. And so personally, I hate it. I just because I think that it bridges the gap between bowl game and kickoff. And so, to go 8 months without any football, that you can, really get yourself jazzed up about. It's not terrific, but again, times are changing. There's lots of stuff going different, and we just gonna have to. Just gonna have to deal with it. Maybe this is something that can come back in the future. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's something that we can, tell people about a long time from now. That remember when we had the spring game, that was a fun time. But it's a big recruiting thing. I think it's a little bit slap to the fan base, just because I saw how the fan base turned out BV's first year to kind of show that solidarity for the program after Lincoln left, and you sold out the spring game. That was insane. And so, with this one, in the grand scheme of things, like, no, it's not a big deal. Like, they're not showing anything. It's minimal playing time for, key contributors and, a lot of bonus time. Well, I think now you can't afford, like you were talking about earlier, you can't afford, ticky-tack injuries in an unnecessary game where they're going to go all out and they're going to play really hard because they're football players. And so, whereas if you get 3 or 4 guys nicked up, maybe one decently serious injury in the past, you got enough bodies. Now you don't.
That's the thing that I'm thinking about too. And BV mentioned that too in the presser. And they were asking him about the spring game, and one of the reasons why he's like dealing with injuries, a lot of them last year. So we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we could potentially have more. And I'm gonna be honest, he's right. Like, the big complaint everybody have is somebody get injured because, Michael Boganowski takes their head off or Reggie Powers III gets them across the middle. Everybody's going to be like, hey, man, you just killed your wide receiver. We already had wide receiver injuries. And you're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
But, we want to give y'all some action. I also don't want to see any of them get, rolled up or anything or whatnot. I do want to see them, do some skill stuff and battle each other. But at the same time, I totally understand why they wouldn't want to. They wouldn't want to put themselves in a situation where we could potentially lose players, especially because we're dealing with so many injuries right now. So, yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, we'll still go, and I would say this. I think it'd be cool to be able to. It'd be cool to let people come out and maybe. Throw against, maybe have a John Mateer go out there and sling a ball, see how far he can just throw it downfield, and let a couple of, sweepstakes participants, toss the ball. Or remember when Hollywood ran against the student with like the 10-yard head start, something like that. Those, I think those things would be pretty fun. Access to the players, be a little bit more of a cool thing. For us, it was always about, getting to hang out with some of the parents. There's a couple of those guys watching right now, like, getting out there and just, getting to chop it up and have a conversation and, talk about, what ifs, for the season. So, but you're going to continue to have some stuff, and the university is going to want to have some kind of fanfare to kind of bridge that gap. And so there'll be something this year that'll probably be, meh, and then it'll probably get better the following year and get better after that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm wondering what it's gonna look like when they put it all together. I'm curious to how they actually do it. And no, Lemon, you're right. It won't be televised, which is kind of one of the big reasons as well. But I'm curious to see how it all comes together. You know what? You know what Oklahoma should do for this? I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna do some little self-promoting here, Coop. You know what they should do? They should reach out to as many OU content creators that they can find and get them out there to do stuff out there at that event. That's what you should do. Bring the content creators out there, have them bring the fans and enjoy their show. Say, come on out with us, come hang out, and we all kick it at the game. That'd be a smart way to do it. I saw the Oklahoma City Thunder did that. They brought in some content creators for like a content event or something like that at the beginning of the season, which was pretty cool. I knew a guy that went, and it was They said it was a pretty dope setup. They really bridged with content creators to and those talking about OU and gave them an opportunity to really talk. And like I said, they brought in fans and everything. So that's something to do. I mean, the content game is growing. You better capitalize.
I think it might be a worthy message that I send a certain athletic director.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
let him know. I mean, yeah, now I say this tongue in cheek a little bit, but there's a lot of beef inside the content creator haven for Oklahoma. So maybe we could have a little content creator like 40-yard dash and softball toss and stuff like that, flag football, or what was it? What was the old oh God bless America? Was it the softball? MTV always did the softball, like the celebrities come out for the baseball all-star game, and then wasn't there a celebrity basketball game too? For All-Star Weekend for a while, right? Because I remember several different guys used to come out. Just a couple of content creator just now you're gonna have the puke buckets ready, and a couple of different athletic trainers ready to on the sidelines, because I'm pretty sure that someone's gonna die overexerting themselves.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't want to go out there and participate in any of those activities. I have zero. Yeah, my body doesn't like that, but it would be cool. Because then they used to have it like the alumni used to play against the players.
Yeah, then there was an alumni game. There's been alumni games all over the place, and most of them have gone by the wayside because somebody comes back, and I believe somebody got really, really, really seriously injured, and the alumni game kind of was done at that point. Can't remember who it was, but I want to say somebody came back and got hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's these were still collegiate athletes. Now, I mean, if I walked out and tried to throw again, I would maybe lose use of my arm. But there's still some of those guys who might be 31, 32 years old and could still put a stick to ball, or played football. I'm sure Damian Mackey gets out there and he's gonna block you into the ground.
I don't want that in my life. I would love to watch y'all. I mean, Coop, you can do that. You down to get out there and make that happen?
Now, I will say this: I've entered the pickleball ring over the past maybe month and a half, and so I play with some guys at our church, some older fellas, and then some college kids, and we played full court basketball at the end of it yesterday, and I mean, it's kind of embarrassing. I'm pretty sure I have like 8 ice packs at our house, and I use every single one of them when I get home.
That's hilarious. All right. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button, wipe your feet. New to the channel, subscribe, rate, review us, give us 5. Coop, Naggie. Jim Naggie talked about his position, talked about what he does and how he does it. Talk to me. How'd you feel about hearing him talk about the GM role?
You have interviews where, like the UCLA coach at the Big Ten press conference this year, where you're like, did nobody tell him that he was doing this week? Because he's no clue what he's saying. Like Naggie just, I mean, when he's talking, you're like, oh, this guy, he knows what he's doing. Like, and that's just, when you listen to him talk, like it's, you think that he's probably forgotten more about football than a lot of us have ever known.
Right.
So just, kind of a cool cat. And, obviously he is really, really good at what he does. He's been around winning. He knows what it takes to win. He knows what it takes to make a difference. And so I'm actually excited about it. Now, Clark, I don't know if Naggie will affect recruiting from you got to give a shout out to Jim Naggie for this. Jim Naggie is going to affect recruiting immediately. He's going to I mean, I promise you, the moment that he was on his way, or it looked like he was on his way, he was letting folks know, hey, listen, if you've got eyes on a talent, and you know, let me know. And it is a different game, though. You know, we talked about it on Sunday. Different ball game, pulling a talent pool out of high school versus going into the NFL or being a late round draft pick and trying to find characteristics that are going to allow you to stay in the league for a long time. But I mean, I think Naggie is this guy's a professional and he knows what he's doing. I don't think he could have done anything more positive, after being seen as a home run hire across every single media outlet, covering the situation. But he hopped in. He had, he started talking. It seems like he's been here. I would have to say that the pullover or the quarter zip that he was wearing, I think he needed something crimson. I think he just it looked like he was wearing like something some swag he got at like a charity golf tournament. But no, I mean, dude seems like he's got a plan and he's ready to get to work for it.
Yeah, no, he does, and I like the way he talked about with player acquisition in their plan. And so, like the question here from Clark Kent, good one here. What year do you guys think Naggie will actually affect recruiting? You want to be honest? I'm gonna say next season, mainly because not the season coming up in 25. I think 26. Mainly because in 25 he'll do like this season. Spring portal is gonna be big because he already said we're gonna hit the portal hard and we're gonna find dudes that belong at Oklahoma, and that's what we're gonna focus on. And because he's going to be hiring a big staff to really work with evaluation, including getting as many guys as possible with NFL experience, their whole goal on the eye when it comes to high school is finding kids that belong in the SEC, that can play in the SEC. Not only those from high school, but also ones that enter the portal. So don't be surprised. I mean, heck, a player like a Braden Fisk or a Jared Verse, they would have been great in the SEC. They would have been elite coming from – Khalil Mack would have been amazing in the SEC if he wasn't stuck at Buffalo.
And Fisk, I mean, we were in the final for Fisk. He was at was it Western Michigan or
Wyoming?
Wyoming, yeah. So there's a W in there.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
good by the way.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that I mean that's what I mean. He also can only affect in the spring portal for this coming season. So I mean, that's going to be a tough ask because most of the guys who, there's going to be some guys that leave. I can promise you that, and typically those guys, have already had, spring conversations and, just decided to pull the trigger in the spring portal. And so, kind of like a Dominic Williams last year, that's somebody that we had spoken to in a previous portal session. So, but, let's say, I will say this is if we don't get anybody of note in the spring portal, people will fuss and they will complain and say, well, maybe Naggie's not as good as he was. And then if we do get somebody really big, it'll be like, oh, look at that. It's the Naggie effect. I don't think that really has he's going to have much play. But I would say this is if we get some, former 3-star guy out of Western Kentucky or something like that, and the guy turns out to be a baller, I think we can know who had a hand in it.
Right. You'll know exactly who had a hand in it. And it's going to be that, Naggie found some guys. And that was the one thing that jumped out to me the most about him was we got to remember how much tape this dude watches. And he even said it, that was kind of the joke, the pause joke that Eddie had to put out there. I love Eddie Radosevich because he always grabs the good quotes. But he said that he'd rather spend his evenings in the dark watching tape. And that's what he does. He's just going to watch film nonstop. And he watches so much, especially around like G5 and mainly because with those guys, even FCS, inviting them to the Senior Bowl, that's a huge boost to a lot of their opportunity to go pro. And so you got to find the best of the best. And he had over 100 dudes drafted that came to the Senior Bowl because they found them and get them the invite. That's a big deal. Now he has those connections. He knows the agents, right? that's going to be the one thing that's going to help with them in talent evaluation. And I love how you talked about the collaboration piece that they're going to have. Real
Yeah.
quick, basketball update. Sooners are up 82-71 with 3 minutes and 39 seconds left in the quarter.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Just
Okay.
continue.
I'll keep talking.
Yeah.
Pretend like it's not there. Pretend like I didn't say that.
Not you, baby.
Anyway.
My daughter just walked in and get something out the printer, and I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. And she's like, what am I doing? What am I doing, Dad?
At the perfect time. Exactly.
I see your screen share, and I'm like, no, Jay, don't do it.
Right. I'm gonna share in a minute, gosh darn it. Anyway, no, but the collaboration they're gonna have in looking at talent together, you're gonna have Naggie and the coaching staff basically deciding what players make sense. Like they're going to present players to them and say, hey, this is the skill set he has. You said you wanted this. You want a guy that can do this. You want a guy that looks like this on tape. Here's one guy. Here's one guy. Here's one guy. What do you think? And then that allow the coaches to be able to go out and do those visits without feeling like, they're looking at dudes that they don't need to be looking at.
Yeah.
I like that. And he said, I'm not going to force any players down their throat, while at the same time, they're going to do the same. They're not going to get Brent players or Naggie players. Are going to be Oklahoma players. And I like that they already have that established as a working relationship. That should really be beneficial come spring portal and then going into this class.
Yeah. I think that you're going to, you bring in Jim Naggie in because you recognize his talent evaluation, how he puts together an organization, and those are the reasons why. And so for you to bring him in, and then any coach that would look at him and go, yeah, I can do this on my own. Like I promise you, every single one of these coaches, they already got a talking to. I don't know if it was necessary, but they already got a talking to. Like, hey, if he brings something to you, like, there's a reason why you should go look at it. But this takes a lot off of our coaches' plates, because now instead of them and their assistants and everybody going through, hours of film, you got a lunatic that, at nighttime has the lights turned down and he's just, scrummaging through, the 11 on 11 tapes. And so he's just looking at it. And I feel pretty good about it, Jay. Like, again, there's nothing after today. Granted, maybe it was an absolute just starving for some type of legitimate Oklahoma news, but I'm pretty stoked, and maybe this is the point in this point in the season where you get some more of this action where people start going, man, we might be good. Like what if we're good? What if we're good? And hopefully by summer it's can we win 10, 11, or 12 games? So
that would be a good thing. We could win 10, 11, or 12 games come summer. That would actually be
let's go for 15. Let's go for 15. Why the heck not?
Why not? Why not go 15? I think 15 is a good number for us to push for. I think we can do it. I think we should definitely look at that. No, oh yeah, I had to go glance at the score. Oh goodness,
it's up by 10 with 2.5.
Up by 10 with 2.5.
And
if they keep this,
yeah, and the difference right now, and I don't want to completely go over the top here, but like the difference in this basketball game versus what they have had issues with for the past 3 years is like they're closing, because I'm not actually watching the game. I'm watching the ESPN Gamecast update.
Me too.
But I like doing this at times because I could turn it in on Hulu Live and watch it, but like watching this, I get to see like possession by possession, and you see Missouri do something and Oklahoma answer, and then Missouri do something and Oklahoma answer, and that's how they're closing out the game with a lead. You can afford to trade baskets at that point. Whereas the previous past in the 3 years, like what's gotten so much frustrating, well, then Goodine turns the ball over, but what's been so frustrating for fans is the fact that like you get up to this point and you just have this resounding like there's no chance we're going to win this game. Like we got a 10-point lead with 2 minutes left, and are we going to lose by 3 or 4 or 5?
Yeah, we got
But
basketball going now, which is very interesting. And they missed a
I
shot,
was
and
I will say this, Jay. This may be the basketball team's Alabama game.
hey,
And
it could be. They're
by what I
basically doing it.
and so what this means is they again 151 and now you're up by 8. So we got the shot the ball, got the offensive rebound, minute and 36 left. I feel it's pretty good to continue down this path here. And then Jalen,
And we scored.
there we go.
So
All
we're
right.
up 10, 131.
91 seconds left. So
Oh my goodness.
but
But anyway, back on it. So like Stevie actually mentioned this, get the Senior Bowl O-line scout who found Cody Mach. He's the guard for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Played ball at North Dakota State, which is one of those schools that are really good with offensive linemen and actually produces a pretty good amount of NFL guys. So in that situation, absolutely, I would like for Naggie to go snatch up a lot of those dudes from the Senior Bowl staff and bring those scouts in. But and I know that's probably what he's going to do. He's probably got the Rolodex of people that he's going to look at, the NFL experienced guys, and bring them in. And yeah, I thoroughly expect for us to have a pretty good group of folks in.
yeah, he's going to have himself a pretty crack staff. Now, what is Jim Nagy's like long-term plans here? Like, is this something that he's going to give 3 years and kind of reassess and see what he wants to do? Maybe it's longer because I think it'll be different every year for the next 3 years, and I think that he said that, in the conference. So if he does a good job, people are going to want to pay him a lot more money to go where they're at, and so. So hopefully that staff gets set up pretty well. Hopefully he's got kind of a mentee that he wants to bring in and, counsel and, teach them how to do it. So we'll see. Now, again, Jim Naggie catches 0 balls. He throws 0. He makes 0 tackles, makes 0 blocks. And so it's still going to be on the players. And I think that there's we haven't heard from a lot of the new guys, but so far we're 1 for 1.
Yep. 27 seconds left. Looks like we're about to win this game, 92-80. Not with that score, but we're going to win this game at this score. We're up 12 with 27 seconds left. If we lose this game, Porter needs to be fired. Like, don't even let him out of the gym.
But Jay, if we're going to win this game, if we make the tournament because we win this game.
Yep.
I just expect Porter Moser to be back next year.
Fire that man.
He's going to be back. Unfortunately, I hate to tell everybody this, but unless you got a booster who is going to supplant or unless they've already got something predetermined for like a partial buyout type of situation, he makes it to the tournament, I think he's back next year.
Yeah, this appears that this team's about to be dancing. This win puts them in the dance.
With a conference record of 5-12 after this game, I'm not celebrating that.
I agree, but this will be the crazy part is this will be the first time. I know we started into basketball talk. This will be the first time that Oklahoma has actually made it to the NCAA tournament
under his watch. And
under his watch.
He's the only basketball coach I believe it was to miss the tournament 3 years in a row, and I think this would be his 4th year if he doesn't make it. So,
but he has, in comparison to people around him, as far as record-wise, he has like the most quad 1 wins, and I think quad 2. So he's
like 8 or 9. I mean, it's a significant amount.
The non-con saved him. Just put it that way. In the upsets that he's gotten this season, like this one, which will be, I think this is considered a quad 2 win. This just was the saving grace as well. So yeah, he's definitely going dancing.
Well, and here's why. The only reason why is, I think that if there's good people around Jeremiah Fears, they're going to tell him, like, you can come back and be in the national spotlight the entire year as a Player of the Year candidate. I think that Godine has shown a lot this year, and I think that oh goodness gracious, Forsyth. I think next year he could be a monster.
Oh yeah,
So
Dayton. Yeah, Dayton can definitely be a beast.
yeah, I think that's you're going to have to, if Porter does stick around, he's got, I think the entire administration has a lot to do to, really up the NIL game on the basketball front, because you need some size down low. And until you get that, it's not like the Thunder to where suffer from size all year last year, but you had Shea and J-Dub, out there just balling. And, Chet was an adequate, makeup. I believe I was listening on the radio, or maybe it was on the Sooner Scoop podcast, but I think Kerry Murdoch brought up, a couple of guys from the, from the old school days, and they were like, God, I could really use, this guy. And I thought, man, yeah, that would be terrific on this team. Even a Ryan Spangler would be terrific on this team.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. So, all right. Think I'm spent. I'm excited. The team actually basketball won. We had some great press conferences, good information coming down the line. I mean, if anything, this weekend we'll be able to talk about all these visitors and what makes sense. So what else you got to close us out, Coop? Final thoughts?
Diamond Sports are still just thumping. I believe that the ladies on the basketball side had themselves a pretty significant win. And so was it Alabama? I believe that they just beat, but
and they've secured first round regionals in Norman.
Yeah,
shout
and
out to the women.
I think that's going to be great. I mean, obviously, from a Sooners perspective, I would say this. I saw somebody put in there, I don't know if it's Stevie or Lemon or one of the guys, but said, you go down for the spring game events, go to the baseball game, go get your chance to see that. Support those guys because it's listen, if you thought the football was tough in the SEC and then you thought basketball was tough in the SEC, wait till you get to baseball, because it's really bad. I mean, like, they're really good. Now, our baseball team's going to be very, very good, and the pitching has been phenomenal at this point, yes. So I think we got a lot to be excited about. Otherwise than that, man, the Thunder, man, they just keep on being the Thunder. It doesn't really matter what's going on. Memphis looks like they're tied with Memphis right now. So
I'm gonna go watch that game.
Keep on thumping around. Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna go do.
I was on ESPN, so they can't even beat that. Look at that. Look at them on TV hooping. So, heck yeah. All right. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. OU wins the game against Missouri. That probably puts them into the tournament. That was the one win needed. They'll probably be in the last 4 in. And so, yeah, I'll be talking a lot more of that over on Locked On Sooners with John. We'll be back this weekend. We'll talk about, the events and everything. And, we'll chop it up with all y'all soon. Peace.